emotional well-being, I feel it's completely in my hands. So I do very well on my emotional intelligence because of again, you grow, you learn. So you're not. I am very aware, and I'm that has made me a bit detached to everything I do, even what I do very passionately. I have developed a certain amount of detachment, and that works very well with me. So I do things passionately, so even if something fails, it's fine. I have tried. So that is something which sometimes I feel, am I shrewd? And then I said, no, it's okay. I have empathy, I have love, I have everything, but a little detachment. This is what has helped me, and I've learned over the years. And second thing for emotional intelligence is, to keep yourself very clean, your energy very clean, which now when I say myself, it also includes my family. So, to have a lot of harmony within the family dynamics, that is something that gives you the strength, because end of the day you come back to your family and you are there for your family, and they need your support a lot. So if you start being useful to people whom you love around, your emotional health also improves. And not that you're sucking from people. And also you have to draw a line if you think people are sucking too much from you. So I think a lot of awareness has gone through this, and I think it is somehow, I feel that a spiritual experiences that you feel by self-awareness, they are the one they define your emotional intelligence. And that's how I feel that now I have chiseled my emotional intelligence much more in these 10-12 years.
How I prioritize my mental health while pursuing my career. I recently went through like a mental health struggle, and I got some incredible advice from some friends, which was to take out a piece of paper and like draw a line down the middle, and then draw a line like the middle the other way. So there's like 4 quadrants. And she told me, on the y-axis was like professional importance, and on the x-axis was like joy. And in essence, like that bottom left quadrant, like the things that are there, like cut that stuff out. Even if you like it, even if it was close, it's like cut out like as much as you can, honestly. And I think I got rid of like five projects and organizations that I was involved in, which is ridiculous when you think about, like, if you're cutting out 5, how many were there? So that was really helpful, and honestly, I didn't expect it to help so much, and it was nearly an immediate weight off my shoulders. So I think that might be, if you're feeling like you're struggling to prioritize things, like get things on paper and just tell people where you're at and say, I can't engage for this next period of time, or extricate yourself from that organization if possible.
If every person need to like prioritize our mental and also emotional well-being while we need to like doing our job. So what I will talking to myself is take care of what take care of you. Like we are human being, we need someone that we can lean back, someone to be our safe zones. That's why I would like to encourage you all to have a kind of one-to-one discussions with your team or your family member, that you can be a powered or healing yourselves and themselves together. And in any circumstance that you feel like the challenge is knock your door too often, or it's hard to move on, so asking yourself that are you okay to standing at that point? If you are happy, so just forget about that challenge for a while and standing at the point that you are happy to be yourself. It For me, it not don't need to be on top or at the peak at always. Just at the pace that you are happy. And if you can do it, and you are going to do it, and you do it the best you can, so be proud of what you are doing. And believe me that you already leave the room better than you found it because you did it the best already.
It'd be a little bit hard for me. I feel also a bit difficult for some entrepreneurs because there are times where I'm just like, I gotta go, 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 go. I gotta get this done. And sometimes it's also hard on the people around me, both personally and professionally. So I try to gauge, how pushy I can be, and also give that slack time so that people can also come up for a breather, and I can also come up for a breather as well in terms of doing self-care. And my self-care consists of doing a variety of things, such as like taking a small trip to the beach, spending time with friends, going to to retreat, aromatherapy. I'm into a lot of holistic modalities, so sometimes if I'm not able to get away, I just try to tend to myself by either getting a Reiki session or a gong bath or doing chakra balancing activities. And so I schedule it basically, and I think you have to schedule it. As I said a little bit earlier, you can't fill other people's cup or your big ambition cup when you have an empty cup. You got to start with having, fueled yourself properly, body, mind, and spirit. I think that's really important.
Again, I go back to nature. I don't know why. I really prioritize them right now. I just love. I just feel if you have mental situation in whatever you get stressful about happen in your business, there's a shortcoming, there was less income, I'm gonna carry on. It's to help my team to carry on, especially if they're during the COVID time. One thing that I learned so much about the COVID time is this really kind of mental situation happening going on. Like to close my cooking school or not closing, or my partner gonna accept, or she's gonna go. I think I remember I go back to Alisa Keke in Peturi and look at the mountain. To see two birds, like they was cuddling. And it's just those two birds, and they don't have job, they don't have career, but they also don't know when people gonna shoot them, but it's just only simple when we make things to simplify things with the conscious that you have, whatever less conscious you should have at the moment, and to still have positive thought, energy, and not to get less emotional with things that happen in your life or business or career. I think what I prioritize most is the well-being. Try to get back of your well-being, because when you're in a situation, you're actually losing your well-being. So for me, I'm glad that I'm lucky that I like nature and they treat me to come back to the well-being, going back, like exercise in the morning and try to get less emotional and get back to the well-being. Yeah.
Mental and emotional well-being while still pursuing my career. This is again where for me my work-life balance plays a very important role. There are periods where I get extremely stressed to a point of not sleeping and snapping at people because I can't think of anything apart from the crisis at hand. So I do try to kind of focus on the big picture and take a step back and remind myself that nothing is that important that comes at the expense of my mental well-being. So I try to prioritize tasks. I delegate as much as I can. I outright drop some things or push them very, very far into the future just to make sure that I get my sleep and I don't get too overwhelmed.
I do two things, try to balance myself and then to have more like mental health, good mental health, because right now, before I work too much, like when I work in the multinational company, and then I have like some like kind of small sickness on my brain. And then at that time is first time that I try yoga. Yeah, so it's kind of like, firstly is health office syndrome, right? And then also it's give you body flexibility, and also it's kind of meditation that you really focus on yourself. So every Sunday now I have a professional trainer coming to my house, and then some of my neighbor might join me as well sometimes if they are available. So it's kind of building more community, because in Bangkok everyone is quite individual, right? But then when you have activities at home, and if your neighbor is interesting, I think it's good that you don't only like go to work and then coming back, sleep, right? But then you have more interaction with the other people around you. And the second hobby is like I do teaching as well. Last Saturday, we just have a small class of storytelling. So it means that when you want to practice something, I think it's getting escalated when you like teaching to others, because it means that you have to prepare what you learn, right? And also like try to like make others understand you. So I use this kind of technique, because when you do teaching for public, sometimes you get the different audience that have different background, and sometimes they don't understand as much as you think, right? So it's help when I go back to work and when I see the different learning level of my staff. So I have more like mercy and more understanding them. So everyone not as fast as you like, right? So you have more passion, and then okay, it's like you teaching your students. You have to be more passionate with it.
The support system, as I said, when you leave your country and you start living in another country, you become fiercely independent. You just become fiercely independent, because you don't have your mother. When you have your children, she can just come to you and be there for some time. And at the same time, you become very close-knit to the family you are in. So my two children, my husband, they're a huge support system, and they exactly understand that, okay, if mama needs to go, and especially I would give my daughter to be and my husband, my son is still young. Even when I started working after a gap, I got a huge support system from my daughter, who really took it upon herself to give me that freedom that, no, mama, I can manage, you go, you need to go, for something. Your children and your husband never make you feel guilty. There are times where I have felt guilty, and they have said, no, it's okay. Why are you feeling guilty? That's the kind of support system I cherish at my home. And that is something that I value a lot. Of course, I have friends as well, but when you lead an expat life, your friends are flowing. Some of them go away, some of them. This again, I learned very early in life. So my support system, my family, is the biggest resource I have.
Yeah, I'd love to discuss the support systems that have helped me maintain a healthy balance when I can. I think my partner and my friends are really amazing people that I always call on to talk about work and how I'm feeling. I think I'd always recommend to reach out to friends maybe when you're feeling like you're down. And then if you're over, then get a therapist. But people always want to help as much as you might not think that they do. But besides that, I rock climb like once or twice a week. I lift weights, try best to schedule breaks for myself, even if I don't think that I need them at the time. They're there on the calendar, so they're guilt-free. And Yeah, I think I don't always prioritize perfectly, and that's okay. So actually, I applied for a fellowship recently, a coaching fellowship called Women's Impact Alliance. And I mention it because if there's any other women watching this who are in an impact sector job, it's really cool. And I'm really hoping that this fellowship can help me align my career and my personal objectives and allow me to get more targeted rather than like kind of in spray mode like I've been kind of doing all the things. And yeah, because I think ultimately like you don't need as many supports in place if you've done the work-life balance management well.
For me, if I would like to maintain my energy and my focus, I would talk to my friends, my family member, and if they are not available, sometimes one of my best friends is book. I love to read a book, and the writer would be one of our good friends that we can learn between the lines and we can understand more what is going on. And once we read the book, I feel like other challenge that we have in our brain has gone for a while. And after we read the book, then we will feel like it's cheerful. So if you have friends that are available to talk to your friends. If not, read the book. And the second that I always use is I always respect my holiday time and my team time too. So during the after working hours, or if it's not urgent matter, leave it, forget about it, and do your hobby. And the third one that I like to do is maybe watching the movie and do some plantations, gardening, and then you will learn that the more land that you use for the given problem, the more of reality you will find out. And when you see more reality of that problem, you will understand more and more. And once you understand the problem, then you know what you need to do. So some problem, it don't need to be solved at that time. Leave it for a while and you can come back and you can solve it. Sure.
I've got a few self-care practices. I was actually once told by a person who was doing this job like a little bit before me or alongside me, and who's had gone through all of these, let's say, frustrations that we can experience in this work before me. And he said, if you're starting to feel unraveling, go and have an ice cream. So I don't like ice creams, but what I do is that I go for a walk, I work out, I go and meet a friend for a coffee. I watch Netflix at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. I take a day off. If my schedule permits, I take the day off, or I take half a day off, and I just go to the beach. Because I know that, again, I've said it like several times, that nothing is that important. So let's say if I take the day off or I go and meet a friend during the day, then I will come back to my work the next day much more focused and much more rested and happier.
Maintaining my energy, because I'm quite outgoing person and like to meet people. So I think that the activity that I try to do recently, like teaching, sometimes I do voluntary teaching as well for some like foundations or non-profit organizations. So that's one is give you more calm, because when you like going on organization is very competitive, right? You competing like against your competitors, you fighting against customer demanding, or you're fighting with your internal conflict. So when you do something that sometimes you do it for money because I do have big cause as well, right? But like once a year, I try to do like for non-profit organizations. So sometimes when you see people who are more poorer than you or lack of opportunity, so you will be more happy with yourself that, oh, I have a car, so I have a job, I have a good food, I have a good house to sleep. So sometimes your life isn't that difficult because you found others who are more facing more difficulties than you.
Self-care. That's actually very, very close and personal to me, because I kickstarted the year doing a self-care workshop for my women entrepreneur groups. I'm actually facilitating and helping out women in another group. So that was the first thing that I did for January in 2023, is start a self-care workshop. And I believe that every woman should actually take up time to involve themselves in self-care. We do so much in a day, right? I see women when I walk around. We've talked about, having many various hats at home, in career. So what is it that you do for yourself? It could be the smallest activity, but keep that as a vital part every day. So I would say dedicate that 1 hour per day for yourself, to do something for yourself. That's a self-care practice. It could be anything. I think I shared that early on in the questions that, I take my morning routine starts with yoga, right? That's a bit of self-care practice, right? I love my night walks. I take a 1 hour walk at the end of the day, and what do I do with that? It's my me time. I reflect on the day. I listen to podcasts. We talk about learning new skills. It could be over a podcast too, listening to people, right? And then also connecting with friends. Don't forget, it's important to connect with friends, right? Go out on lunches, go out on dinners. And I don't know if you know this, Fleur, but there's actually in Harvard research that came out, and I found that very, very interesting. And one of it is, why do people fall into depression? And the number one reason was actually lack of social interaction. And based on that research, they came out to say that women must meet other women or their girlfriends at least 3 times a week. Did you know that? 3 times a week to maintain physical, mental well-being. Okay, so ladies, try to put that in your weekly ritual. Make sure you're catching up with friends for lunch. You know how you feel when you actually meet up a friend, have a chat, and then you get, rejuvenated and you want to go continue working. So take that break. Give yourself that when you're exhausted, just stop for a moment, reflect what's happening to you. I think a lot of women forget that in the day-to-day stress, and before you know it, they fall sick. Right? They're stressed out. Then you're finding ways of how to resolve those issues. You have to go to the hospital, which means you're spending more time, right? You've taken more of your work time out. But if you can do it from start and you can do it effectively, I would say take out 1 hour daily. It could be any time that works for you. It could be early morning, it could be late night, or you could segregate it, half an hour morning, half an hour night, whatever works for you. But have that me time to do whatever you love. It could be watching a Netflix series. That's fine too. If you've had a bad day, you want to have a good laugh, go watch some humorous series. Or you want to let it out. Have a call a friend. Or meet a friend for dinner. Or meet your family, Or you feel like, oh, this is missing in my life. I want to learn something new. Spend 20 minutes a day getting that new skill, And it doesn't have to be even related to your industry. It could be something entirely different, right? It could be something like you want to learn how to knit, right? You could actually start. There's so much resources and you can go start learning how to knit, right? So that keeps you lively, that keeps you rejuvenated, right? So very, very important thing. And that's what I advise every single woman who's listening to this interview right now. And do share it with your friends too. 3 times a week, you need to connect with your girlfriends.